want to transform our relationship, it's important to appreciate that at every time in a home that's blessed with children, we recognize that there are times when things are just going wrong at the same time. You've got, this child needs your attention here, this one is crying, this one is screaming. Every family's got their own name for these times. Some families call it the witching hour, tantrum time. I know some men like to call it time to die for Marv. But when these things go on, the question is, how do you handle that? How do you relate to that in a way that optimizes the relationship rather than destroys it? So in short, here's the recipe, and that is as follows. Any child that grows up that's made to feel like a chore, made to feel like an obligation, made to feel like they're getting in the way of the parent's happiness will have a very hard time feeling good about themselves. The reason is because children are egocentric. By definition, we know adults like this as well, but children at least have an excuse. They are completely ego-oriented. Everything is about I, is about me. So if a parent communicates that the child is a hindrance, an obstacle, something that keeps the parent from enjoying their own lives, it's very hard for that child to develop any sense of self. And if the child doesn't have a sense of self, his or her ability to communicate is hindered. To put it concisely, a child that cannot express him or herself to her parent, when they get older, they won't be able to express themselves to themselves. A child who's not able to emote and express how they feel and talk about how they feel and just get shut down will have a very hard time being okay and expressing who they are, how they are, because they're not going to be able to trust themselves. Which leads us to the number one critical key in improving relationship, which, by the way, goes part and parcel with raising children who are emotionally healthy and solvent. Because children, again, being egocentric, their self is defined largely by the relationship with their parents. How I'm treated equals my self-worth. So then, when a child comes to you, your child comes to you with a complaint, with an issue, with a problem, our job as a parent is to make sure that we don't shut that communication down. Regardless of how inane, regardless of how ridiculous, regardless of how unnecessary you believe what they're saying is. Rather than empathize and validate, we very often invalidate. Invalidate is when we tell somebody, we tell our child that what they feel isn't real. I don't know about you, but growing up, I heard plenty of times, so clearly can't mess with you too much, I'd like to think. It's like, I'm hungry. You can't possibly be hungry, you just ate. Really? Okay. How many times you did? Granted, it can be used as a little bit of a maneuver sometimes to stay up a little bit later. But how would you like if your spouse said to you, you can't be hungry, you just ate? I have to go to the bathroom. No, you don't. You just went. Really? That's nice. Empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is your pain is my pain. When your child comes to you with something that is disturbing him or her, you have to communicate empathy.